Hello and welcome to the News Minute. Fresh revelations have come to light about Adani's import of coal in India. To talk about this, I have with me Jayaram from Arapoor, Iyakkam. Arapoor is a anti-corruption NGO, and Jayaram is also someone who has been closely tracking the coal import by the Adanis for TANGEDCO. Jayaram, what exactly is your reaction to this story, the fresh revelations that have come to light now?
Yeah, in fact, it is shocking to learn about this. We have ourselves complained about this coal import scam. We had estimated it to the tune of 6,000 crores for the coal imported between 2012 to 2016. What today's story has come up with is that it could be much more deeper than what we had estimated. In fact, in this story, what they have said is that the coal that has been imported by Adani in Indonesia, it comes from Indonesia, we all know that, and there is a company called PT John Lynn. So they have tracked a shipment that this PT John Lynn is sending to TANGEDCO via the ship. But the invoices travel through different companies. So Adani is the person who is the supplier for TANGEDCO. So PT John Lynn raises an invoice for $28 for 3,500 kilocalorie of coal. So let us remember that the quality of the coal specified in TANGEDCO's case is 6,000 kilocalorie, whereas PT John Lynn in their document seems to have only said 3,500 kilocalorie for $28.
Which is a low grade
coal. Yeah. And then this is being invoiced to a British Virgin Island company called Supreme Union Investors for $28, and that company invoices Adani Singapore company for $34, 3,500 kilocalorie. But suddenly, when Adani raises an invoice with TANGEDCO, 3,500 kilocalorie for the same shipment becomes 6,000 kilocalorie, and the price that they have invoiced TANGEDCO was $92 for this one shipment. And what they have found is that in 22 other shipments as well, the price at the starting point was only $28, whereas on the average around $86 per metric ton was paid to Adani by TANGEDCO. Let us remember that between 2012 to 16, 2.44 crores of metric tons was imported by TANGEDCO, and out of which half of it, 1.19 crore metric tons of coal, was supplied by Adani alone. So for 1 metric ton, if you're looking at some $50 difference, you can imagine the scale of this. So I think this is going beyond what we had estimated.
So how different are these revelations that have come to light now from the case that you have been following, Arapoor Iyakkam has been following?
See, it is, with respect to the tenders, it is the same, because between 2012 to 16, we had looked at all the tenders between that time. And they had, in fact, within that, they have looked at one tender, and within that, several shipments. So this only adds to our evidence that we have already presented, number one. Number two, it also strengthens quite a bit, because now there is also documentary proof from the supplier end that the coal has been procured only at $28, that a low grade coal, 3,500 kilocalorie coal is what has been supplied, and that suppliers address very clearly whatever has been put up. It clearly shows that the shipment is going to TANGEDCO. So therefore, all this is now adding a lot more evidence to the already available complaint and case.
See, one question that many may have is, okay, what's the big deal of selling low, grade coal or high, high value fuel? What exactly is the difference? How is it going to affect me?
Yeah. See, as citizens, as consumers of electricity, there are multiple issues that you are going to face. Number one, there is a big risk to health of the citizens. The article itself says that more than 2 million people die every year due to air pollution. So when you supply low quality coal, now the pollution that arises because of that is much more. Even to produce the same amount of electricity, you need to burn more amount of coal So 6,000 kilocalories is the requirement of TANGEDCO, whereas only 3,500 kilocalories is being supplied. So you at least need 1.5 times or 2 times the amount of coal to produce the same amount of electricity. So you're burning more coal, more pollution is there, and citizens are going to get affected because of this. Number two, as you are going to procure more coal, there is an additional expenditure, additional burden on the finances of the state. The TANGEDCO has been reeling under heavy losses. 1.5 lakh crore is the loss that TANGEDCO has been facing. And much of this is because of the corruption like this that has been happening. So number two is the finances. Number three, all these burden of the finances are directly placed on the consumers like you, because there is a tariff increase that has, very recently also 1.5 2 years back, it happened. The reason why tariff is increased is primarily because of corruption like this, resulting in heavy losses to TANGEDCO. So therefore, consumers are also paying much more than what is needed. You can imagine $28 coal is supplied for $92. So 3 times it's being, over invoiced, inflated. And that inflation is directly placed on the consumers like you and me in terms of higher tariff rates.
And that's something that people have been complaining about. A lot of MSMEs, a lot of industries.
Correct.
And there has been a demand from them to lower the EB tariffs.
Particularly the small and medium scale industries, after the tariff increase, have faced heavy pressure because their commercial rates have gone up very much, and then people who are using anywhere between 400 to 1,000 units, residents, they are also suffering heavily because the increase has resulted almost in the bill now turning up 1.5 to 2 times. So therefore, all this is having a big effect on the citizens. So now, on one side we have price rise, on one side we have unemployment, and on the other side we have increasing expenditure in terms of these electricity bills. So all these put together is having a massive effect on the citizens of the country.
Also, Jayaram, one thing that many would want to know is, if the coal is being imported by TANGEDCO, don't they do quality checks? That's something which raises a lot of questions, because if their procurement is for high grade coal, and then they get low quality, why can't they just try and figure out what exactly is coming in?
So in fact, Comptroller and Auditor General in their report has very clearly pointed out this lapse in the testing of quality by TANGEDCO. So what they have looked at is the testing mechanism between Tamil Nadu Newsprint Paper Limited and TANGEDCO. What TNPL does is they have
TNPL
a random also imports coal.
Yeah. And TANGEDCO also imports coal. Okay.
And we have produced evidence in the same week how TNPL has been procuring for the same quality coal at 70, and whereas TANGEDCO at $91 from Adani and so on. So in fact, TNPL, they have a random sampler method where they, once it comes in the conveyor belt, they pick the sample randomly and they send it for the test. They select the third party who has to, the person who has to conduct the test, and they do it. Whereas here what happens is that it is the contractor who picks the sample and gives it to the third party, and the third party is also selected by the contractor himself.
So in this case, the contractor is Adani. Adani will pick up the samples. Adani will give it to a company which will conduct the test.
And they will also give the same sample to TANGEDCO as well. So TANGEDCO, even if they do random test, the sample would have been given by Adani. So therefore, this lapse was very clearly pointed out in the CAG, that there is, so this entire kind of thing in terms of quality, even in terms of tender condition, even for 100 crore tender, they asked for a turnover of 1,000 crores. So how this entire conditions has been set up to favor Adani and 2 or 3 other firms alone has been very clearly pointed out. So right from the start of the tender to the end, to the generation of electricity, it has been completely covered in a lot of such frauds, step by step.
So at every step there is some illegality, at every step there is some kind of fraud that has happened. And it's been happening for years.
And in fact, recently we heard the government itself saying that coal is not there. Coal
was missing.
Right? So how can coal go missing? So at that point also we raised the issue where you must check whether this difference of quality is not being recorded. Because of that, now they have to supply more coal. So basically, they have to burn more coal. Maybe they are not entering it in the notebook. They are putting it in for burning and they are not entering, because then they will get caught with respect to the quality issue. Because for X amount of electricity, they know if I put 6,000 kilocalorie, how much I have to put so that I have to get X amount of electricity. Now, if you're going to put more quantity, then questions will be raised. Why are you using so much of 6,000 kilocalorie for producing X amount of electricity? So therefore, this could be the reason why coal was also missing in the books.
Now it makes sense, because when I think it was Senthil Balaji, who was the electricity minister, who said that X amount of coal is missing from the this thing,
and
from the plant.
That investigation also has not gone anywhere so far.
So when you import coal, you have to declare it to the customs about the quality that you are importing. So when low grade of coal is being imported, then it means that there is some fraud that is happening at that level also. And isn't that a very serious crime, because you are importing something at a lower grade and you are making it look like it's high grade?
Yeah, this is a very serious fraud on several fronts, and of course at the customs level also. In fact, what customs had done is that they have picked up a sample. They have a testing mechanism. They pick up samples and test the quality of the coal. So their test, so what CAG has done is that they have picked 1/3 of the consignments, where for the same consignment, they checked the test report of customs and test report that is available with TANGEDCO. They said for the same consignment, while at customs the quality is anywhere between 4,000 to 6,000. For one consignment was 4,000, another was 4,500 and so on. In TANGEDCO, for all these consignments, their test quality certificate said it's 6,000 kilocalorie. So therefore, very clearly, there is a fraud that has happened in terms of quality of the coal, and in 1/3 of the consignments alone, this has resulted in a loss of 800 crores is what CAG has reported. So if you look at the entire consignment, so it will be 800 crores into 3 times, which is almost 2,400 crores by itself, right? So all these has been documented, but still, until date, no investigation has taken place.
And there is a DRI investigation that was conducted. The story mentions about that, and that case hasn't seen the light of the day.
Yes, and DRI is the only one. In fact, in 2016, initially they came up for it. This has not happened just in Tamil Nadu. This has happened in many states across India, and the estimate was somewhere around 29,000 crores is what we learned from that. And DRI has been trying to take up this issue because they now need data from Singapore. Because the Adani firm that is supplying is not a local firm, it's an Adani Global Pte Limited based out of Singapore. So you have to get data from the Singapore Adani. Now, when they tried accessing that data from the Singapore government, Adani went and filed a case in the Singapore court saying that data must not be given to the Indian government. And then that case did not go anywhere for Adani. So then what he had done was that then he moved a Bombay High Court, filed a case in the Bombay High Court, where Bombay High Court has given a stay. And then DRI had appealed to the Supreme Court, and that case is pending in the Supreme Court today. So that is the situation of it. But apart from that, people who have to look at corruption. Now, DRI looks at the revenue intelligence angle. CBI has to look at the corruption angle. And CBI did not even proceed beyond a preliminary inquiry in this case. So they should have actually filed a FIR, given that this has happened across several states. And within each state, like here, the Directorate of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption must have filed the FIR and proceeded with it. Once they file the FIR, then the ED has to look at the money laundering aspect of this entire operation, because as we see, the invoices has flown to different countries, whereas the ship comes directly from Indonesia to India. How the money is parked, and this money is what we are also seeing. When Hindenburg research came, we know how the money had flown from different places to Mauritius and then got back to India for Adani and all that. So I think all this requires a very thorough investigation, and there is a lot of data, lot of prima facie evidence. Law says if there is appearance of cognizable offence, FIR must be filed and investigated. Now there is a lot more evidence than a cognizable offence. much more than a cognizable offense that could be seen. So even now, at least now, an FIR must be filed and investigated.
Right, Jayaram, thank you so much for talking to us and explaining to us the illegality of this entire case and how an investigation can unravel the truth behind what exactly has happened in this case. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This election season, your right to choose puts you at the heart of it again.
We'd like to be your eyes and ears.
Choose the journalism and media that serves democracy and you.
Simply head on to newslaundry.com/subscription and pick up the TNMNL joint subscription of your choice today.